for joining us today on Coastal and Progressive Rainbow Forum on Society Bites Radio. Today we'll be speaking with Tyler, who is coming from Diversity and Inclusion as a new Outreach Vice President, and he's going to be explaining some of his thoughts and plans for diversity and inclusion, which will cover a great deal of the state of Florida. Now, I want to introduce Tyler here and give you a little bit about his background. Okay, he will share his plans for diversity and inclusion, where we can expect to find him in doing outreach work. He will work with LGBTQ plus youth, young adults, and multiple minorities and in institutions of higher learning, religious groups, social justice organizations, and others. NGOs explaining DI support services. The multiple subgroups will connect via Zoom, and once COVID-19 is more restrained, in-person groups and activities for these South Florida areas. Tyler, welcome. It's so good to have you here with us again today. It's been a pleasure talking with you before, and I'm sure some of our listeners are looking forward to learning more about what your plans are and so forth.
Thank you for having me on again, Steve. I will definitely go over everything that I have planned as of now, and also kind of give a timeline throughout the rest of the program of what I would expect to see and what could happen and what might not happen. So I'm excited to go further in with you. Thank you.
One of the first things I want to ask, because so people aren't confused here, the broader D&I group is for all ages, but the age that you're focusing on and is for the ages 18 to 30-ish something. I'm correct? It's young adult area.
Yes, that is correct. 18 to about 30, and for specific reasons, and that age group isn't in particular easy to try to work with. But I will try very hard to work with my age group, and I'm excited to see what might happen.
Excellent. Tell us a little bit about your plans, where you hope to do some outreach and things, and I can go over here a little bit of what I do know from some of the earlier thought processes. This is young adult services, and it will provide social outlets mostly for the ages 18 to 30-ish something. It'll provide support groups via Zoom and in person once COVID recedes, mentoring and life coaching counseling for individuals and groups, housing support services, and so forth. I'll go into some more of these more in detail as we talk. I'm just trying to give a brief rundown here. But I want you to start telling our listeners here about where you think would be good places to do outreach, and again, why this is so important. I know with COVID and everything else that's happened and the already suppression of LGBTQ rights and the suppression of multiple minority groups, that there's a desperate need in a lot of cases here for some type of organization that will help give them an outlet and a support and feel like they have people they can connect with and talk to.
Yeah, and you made some excellent points there. Talking about, first of all, I'd like to first begin on why this is important, and then we'll generally move down the list. It's vital and important that people right now, especially even before COVID, as you mentioned, there's constant suppression among people like ourselves. And even with the pandemic that got going, I believe, if I can remember back precisely, it was really early to mid-March of 2020 where I was living at the time in the state of Virginia, or Commonwealth of Virginia. I remember right around, I think it was March 10th or 12th, everything just going into a complete freeze and a lockdown. And it was really something out of a movie. And I remember, just thinking to myself, people are going to be lonely. People that are already in marginalized, communities are going to be even more isolated than they were before. And people like myself were feeling that impact pretty quickly. And so what I hope to do through diversity and inclusion in our area here is to, right now, I will be likely in touch with not only where I currently go to college, but also some other higher learning institutions to try to recruit individuals that are in the diversity inclusion group among those people, like the list that you just gave out, and also people that are in my category, like LGBTQ plus people as well. I'll be trying to get in touch with them. And generally the ages will be between 18 to 30 because unfortunately, we've got a problem in our country where it comes to suicide, and it's a very upsetting topic, but I have some information here actually that goes over why it's just so important to have this outreach. And this is from the CDC and the United States Department of Health and Human Services, and also part of the sources here, National Vital Statistics reports, indicates that even before COVID-19, from the years of 2000 to 2018, this is just pre-COVID still, some states like Maryland saw a 21.7% increase in suicide. New Hampshire saw the largest amount out of all the states in the United States with a 110% jump in suicide rates, percentage that is. And Florida, where I live and reside, a 29.2% rise, and then the U.S. average of all of them, the mean average of all the states and commonwealths, saw a 47.1% increase. So, and Hawaii, I'll just throw them out there. I'll pick Hawaii because it shocked me. 46.2% in Hawaii's suicide among people. And generally, that age group is mainly younger folks who are between the ages of 18 and even below 18, even your minors and people from 18 to 20, but mainly the younger group that are really suffering here, even before COVID. And I was not able to get fresh data in on current COVID statistics when it comes to suicide. However, I was hearing some credible reports that the percentages have spiked significantly because of the isolation that people are going through with the pandemic. That leads to depression, and that's the unfortunate part. But my goal is to help bring people together, as I just listed, in the ways that I'll be doing that, and forming good social outlets. So, if I were to obtain a group locally here, we would do about once or twice a month meetups at areas of activities, outdoor activities, volunteering events if they were to arise, and things like that. But that's why it really is just so important to get people out, and I'm willing to take a lead here to try to get a group together. If it becomes successful, wonderful. If people are a little bit more hesitant, I understand because of the virus, then I will just continue to volunteer in the area and do whatever I can to help make a positive difference during this hard time.
Excellent. Some of your stats there were absolutely shocking, Tyler, and we know that how bad this is. We keep finding out every week, it seems, practically something else new is discovered about COVID and the dangers it brings to our life and the medical problems it causes long term. There are literally hundreds of thousands of people across the United States right now who have long-term medical issues they're dealing with from COVID, the remainder effects. Of course, some people recover and don't have hardly any effects from it left long-term, but does not include everybody. There's literally hundreds of thousands. They're still being documented. Some of these things are so bizarre that it causes, because COVID is, as they discovered, a disease of the blood vessels. And but I'm kind of getting off subject here. I don't want to do that, but I just wanted to explain why, the part of your suicide rate, people are depressed and they're already upset, and especially the minority and exploited communities that have already been suppressed before. And now they're facing even more issues because, as you also, another stat that goes right in sync with what you just described there, people have lost their jobs in the minority communities at record levels because they cannot
That's right.
do their, they cannot do their work, remotely. And some of the higher professions can work remotely, but a lot of people can't. And also the suicide rate among the critical care first-line groups have also increased considerably. These are nursing staff and medical staffs, especially, and the paramedics and so forth. Another area that has seen staggering issues that they've faced, and even getting their basic supplies and stuff to them. It's frightening, and that's part of the reason why your statistics have risen so high. And people need to understand this. This is serious. And what I'm hoping that you and your group can do is form a support area for these people who need the help here in this area, and even a broader area when you can do it via Zoom to a broader audience. But of course, you in person, hopefully in the future, going to be able to have some meetings, like you said, here in the area, people who live in the South Central Florida area. So, but carry on with where you hope to do the outreach at.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you. Absolutely. And you really made some outstanding points there. Healthcare workers on the front line are certainly also a group that I'm certainly thinking about every day. But I just wanted to move into the next phase here. So generally some of the things that we would do within our group, if I were to obtain it, and I will be trying hard in the next coming week to get people to join in the ways that I've been thinking are most appropriate. And time will tell, too. I don't want to force anybody right now because I understand the fears of COVID. But diversity inclusion, so I just want to go over again, who would we be if a group is successful? It'd be basically your Black, Hispanic, Asian, Middle Eastern, LGBTQ plus people, veterans, victims of religious cult persecution, and then of people of abused relationships, including bullying. Bullying is an area that I would like to see more done, certainly in our country, to protect people who are in school, children who are suffering bullying and or people that are suffering bullying into their adult phase of their life as well, and also people looking for a second chance. What will we provide? Young adult services typically provide social outlets, as you went over, as I went over, mostly from ages 18 to 30. That would be the group that I would be looking to obtain. So I will be also, that's why I will be speaking at the higher learning institution I currently go to try to get a group together, and also different higher learning institutions, because obviously that would fit, many people there would fit that age category. Support groups both via Zoom and in person. Now, first, if a group were to be formed soon, and I would have more of a group base developed, because that would be essential to having a group. I would begin likely with Zoom, and then as COVID starts to pull away, whenever that will be, then more of an in-person group would probably form, where we would do outside activities, volunteering on a basis that would work for everybody's schedules. And but I really want to keep people safe. At the beginning, if a group were to form, we would be through Zoom. Mentoring and life coaching, counseling. So that basically is just like we offer support as well for people that I used to work for and volunteer at Northern Virginia. That's where the CP flag. And I worked with, at a young age of I believe I was 21 years old, I worked with PFLAG, Keeping Families United, and working with an adult and then a youth group, and keeping their privacy, and it was important when I was there. We learned not to share information with parents or the kids, and we would just work